All right, guys. So you want to start a six-figure business, episode 4. And today we're going to be talking about something that I get questioned about all the time. It's probably top 5 things that we hear about, which is taxes, which nobody likes, they suck. And of course, what type of structure should I have for a small business? So before I get into this, first thing, I'm not a lawyer, not a CPA, not an accountant. And that's the first piece of advice I'm going to give you is once you start to grow at a certain level, go get a great CPA. I can tell you some horror stories from myself and some clients. When the IRS says they want their money, they're not playing. They want their money. I can speak to that from personal experience. So get a great CPA. Maybe that's the second thing you want to do. You want to hire a great business coach first. That'll help you get from point A to point B, help you grow your business quicker. But if you don't hire a business coach and you just want to take the slow road to get there, get you a great CPA. They will pay for themselves, I promise you. That being said, that's my disclaimer. So, business structure. There's a bunch of different things. And of course, every state's going to be a little bit different. So you'll have to, again, get with your local CPA and decide which is going to work best for you. But everybody's going to be a little bit different. So most people that start off a small business, especially from home, will go with a sole proprietorship. And that's not always the best way. And have no fear. If you start out as a sole proprietor, you can always become an LLC. You can always convert to a C or an S Corp in most states. So don't freak out if you're already a sole proprietor. But the issue with sole proprietorship, which is basically you just put it on your taxes and you write off, some expenses, but you're limited on what you can write off as a sole proprietor. Excuse me. And you usually are going to pay more in taxes. You're going to pay taxes on all of the income, and you're going to pay a self-employment tax in most states. So you're going to pay more in taxes, believe it or not. So being self-employed, you're actually going to pay more in taxes, which sucks because nobody wants to pay more in taxes. And I use the example, it's not always how much you sell, it's what you get to keep, it's what you get to take home. So if you have a $500,000 business, but you get to keep $400,000, isn't that what you want? Versus making $1 million, but only getting to keep $100,000 a year. That really sucks. So it's not how much you sell, it's how much you get to keep, to say the least. So you want to have that type of structure to where you get to keep as much money as you can. And taxes is a huge cost to your business. My kids one of my kids is, actually I'm in the parking lot of band practice, and one of my kids, my daughter, is a drummer, and they're actually probably about to start playing, so I better get this done quick because if I hear a lot of noise, they just walked outside the band hall. I'm sitting here waiting to pick her up. But anyway, recording this video for you. That's how dedicated I am. But so sole proprietorship has some limitations. LLC is what I recommend most small businesses go to. It's what I have for just about every business. Louisiana Clothing Company is an LLC. This is one of the biggest reasons for me, is it gives you some protections. Sole proprietorship, if you get sued as a sole proprietor, they can come after your house, your car, everything that you personally own, because your business is basically in your name. As an LLC, they can only come after the assets of the company. Whereas, so your house is off limits unless you have your house in your company name. Your car is off limits unless you have the car in the company name. I'm going to move, guys, so bear with me. So that is one of the many benefits of having an LLC, is you get some protections, whereas you don't get those protections in a sole proprietorship. So that's the first thing. You also will normally get some tax benefits. You won't normally have to pay the self-employment tax as an LLC. You will only actually pay income tax on what you write yourself a check as. So, and there's some limits. You can't write yourself, craziness. And you also can't underpay yourself. You normally pay yourself a reasonable salary, but you will only pay income tax on that amount. And so if you, pay yourself $30,000 a year for what you do, or $50,000 a year, you're normally going to be in a lower income bracket versus if you're paying yourself $300,000 a year, you might bump yourself into a higher bracket. So there's some nice benefits to filing an LLC. Now, if you're just starting out and you're small, you're going to say, well, I'm only making $2,000 or $3,000 in profit a year. And in my state, LLC costs me $500 and I've got to pay that $500 fee every year. Maybe it doesn't pay for itself just yet. So there's some of that. Whereas in Louisiana, the fee is fairly small. I think it's $100, maybe a couple $100 to file an LLC. And then the fee every year is like, I think it's $50 or $35. You got to do an update fee, which is kind of stupid because the update fee is what's your address, which is the same every year. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Every state's going to be different. Like I know in California, some states and other states, LLCs are very expensive to file with the state. And you have to have an attorney prepare those papers, so it gets even more expensive. So, but Louisiana, you just go to, I think it's louisiana.gov or something like that, just do a search for it, and you just print up their form, and you fill it out, and then you upload it to them, and you send them the fee, and boom, you're done. Like, it's not very complicated. I know when I was in Alabama, and I started businesses in Alabama, I actually had to fill out an Articles of Organization, which I had someone help me prepare. My CPA prepared those documents for me. They were like 17 pages. Had to send that to the state. It's kind of, so some states are different. So do your due diligence and check that out. And then you just have to kind of do the math and decide if that's going to be a better option for you to do LLC. Now there's S Corp and C Corp. That's when you really get a lot of partners, or you have a board of directors, and you're going to have crazy money coming in. Then you may want to set up an S or a C Corp. Again, your CPA is going to give you the best guidance on that, but normally you're not going to get involved in that. And when you get to that point, you'll kind of normally know, but it's worth checking out, see if there's some tax benefits to going with an S or C Corp. And I've filed or had an LLC and then filed as an S Corp several years, per my CPA's instruction, because it allowed me, again, some better tax benefits, but it was in another state. So you just have to use your best judgment, find a great CPA or get a great tax attorney even, and follow their guidance. They're going to steer you in the right direction. I promise you, if you're doing any kind of volume in your business, they're going to pay for themselves in tax savings 9 times out of 10. So definitely do that. So that's my spill on business structures, and that's my spill on taxes. It's not what you sell, it's what you keep. And you need to find the best business structure for the type of business that you do. It's always going to be different. I just can't say it enough. Every business is going to be very, very different. I'll give you a couple little more tips if we're talking about taxes. It's not complicated. Call your local tax office. And, if you're a brick and mortar, you're going to have an occupational license. With the Louisiana Clothing Company, predominantly the sales are online. I do some local sales, but I live outside the city limits, so I don't need an occupational license for that particular business. But I called the tax office, and I even called the wrong one. Don't get scared to call your local tax people. They actually you're on your side. They're going to help you. Make friends with those people. Don't hesitate to call them. Everybody makes out the IRS bad. They're not as bad as they once were. Like I said, I've had some instances when they want their money, they're not playing. But 9 times out of 10, if you call them up and say, look, I'm starting a business. This is the type of business I have. This is what I want to do. And they'll tell you, hey, you've called the wrong office. You need to call, the other courthouse or the other so-and-so tax office. And they'll put you in touch with the right people. Just play dumb, right? But be honest. Tell them what you're trying to do. They'll tell you what licenses you need. They'll tell you, what fees you're going to have to pay, what schedule you're going to have to be on. I've never had an issue just being straight up and being honest. They're not trying to be shady. They're going to help you out 9 times out of 10, tell you what you need. So don't hesitate to call your local tax office, And when you're done, say, what other licenses do you think I'm going to need? What other, things do I need to file monthly or quarterly? They'll help you out with that. Don't hesitate to ask lots of questions. Make that person your best friend. It can save you some pain. It can save you some money. That's all I got, guys. If you're listening to this on the podcast, make sure you subscribe so you continue to get updates. If you're listening to this on YouTube, like that. That'll be in the show notes or the links below. Subscribe. And of course, like that. That helps other small business owners find this information a lot easier. So it helps the algorithm. So if you have got any kind of benefit from this, please do that. It helps me out, helps other small business owners. And if you haven't joined our Facebook group, do so. It's the links below, but it's the Next Level Leadership and Small Business Owners Show. group, and it's pretty awesome. Got a lot of free content there. And of course, if you want some free training, I've got that down below as well. It's the best hour you'll get, no strings attached. You ain't got to pay me for shipping. Just go to explosivesmallbusinessgrowth.us/wrong. Also hit the home page and you can get my book for free. Again, no strings. And I also have some training on I have two websites, explosivesmallbusinessgrowth.com and explosivesmallbusinessgrowth.us. US is the online business academy. So both sites have different trainings and different free content. So definitely go check those out. You can get my book and some free trainings, no strings, as I said. That's all I got today. I hope I helped you out and hope you learned at least one thing that'll help take you to the next level. Holla if you need me, email me, stalk me on Instagram, send me a direct message. I'm more than happy to help you any way that I can.